Sweet. Let's see if my internet has stabilized since the last stream. I'm not streaming to I'm dropping frames. Why is that happening? I am so confused about that. I haven't watched back the last stream either yet. Maybe I should have. Just to check whether or not I was like consistently like lagging out or not. But in the last stream nobody really like complained about it. So it, probably it's fine. Maybe. But it is really fucking weird. It really is. Like I instantly started losing frames when I started streaming there. So I don't know what's up with that. But it's not something that I can fix, I don't think. I haven't restarted my internet, which I should have done after the last stream. Like just unplug my router and just like let it reset. Probably should have done that. I'll try to remember doing that after this stream, and it's probably going to be a fairly short stream because it is hot in here, and my brain doesn't work at these temperatures. My brain works best at temperatures where it is not melting out of my head, strangely enough. You see, even when it says that it's dropping frames, I'm still like streaming at about 5,000 kilobit, so it should be fine. Do I have like output streaming? It's about 6,000 kilobit, so it should be fine. Can I change this on the fly? Oh, that would be interesting if I could. Hold on. Can I set this to variable bitrate? Because that might help. I don't know if that actually like made any changes, but so far I don't think that did anything, to be honest with you. Yeah. I mean, I do have Chrome open, mostly so that I can read my chat, but I always do. It's never been a problem before, so I don't know why it suddenly started being a problem this week. Well, that's the big issue. I did, for some reason... Oh, did it reset some settings? Because it is streaming at H.264, not at AV1. Even the recording... I think some of my settings got fucked up when OBS updated or something. I don't think my system memory is the issue. Yeah, I don't think so. I checked last week or earlier this week when we had the same issue, and like the system performance, there was nothing that like really showed. I looked at my GPU mostly, but so far it seems to have stabilized a little bit. I'm not dropping any more frames. Oh no, there we go. Like if I just look at all this, right, like there's nothing that indicates, aside from this, obviously, but even that isn't like, I mean, it's something about 7 megabit per second, which should not be that big a deal. But nothing else here is really seeming like it's bottlenecking. So I don't know. Maybe it's just YouTube servers being fucky. Maybe it's some kind of setting that, because some of my settings did get changed, admittedly, right? Because I go into my like output settings, like this. I'm not sure if I set this to AV1. I believe I did. I am 1,000% sure that I've been recording stuff in AV1 for a while now. and they're both back to 264 now. So something at some point seems to have fucked a little bit with my settings. So what I'm thinking is maybe it's trying to connect to a not very close server. But yeah, if the stream doesn't seem slow, the dropped frames are just, I don't know. It's kind of weird because last stream nobody like seemed to have any problem with frame drops, and the frames are dropping less than they were last week. I keep saying last week, it was just Tuesday. My life is a mess, man. Anyway, let's just get going, I guess, and hopefully everything will be fine. But it is bothering me a little bit. So when we left off, I said I wanted to take like another look at the whole setup that we have here, which is going to come together in a small room here, and then we'll have like one more, maybe slightly bigger room. I'm thinking like making one area that's just like 4 of these rooms next to each other in like a square. Maybe. Not entirely sure how I'm gonna like do that as far as like level design guys. Like what makes those rooms, like do I just have to clear out all the rooms to open one door? Does every room open one door? Or I guess I just have to clear everything out. But for now, I think the first thing to do is adding a nav mesh volume. Make sure that's in the right streaming level. I guess these are getting dynamically updated anyway, so it doesn't matter that much. Might as well. And then, oh, what the hell happened there? And then just make it big enough for this entire room. I don't know if this room is big enough to like reasonably hold a lot of enemies. It is a little bit smaller than the other 2 rooms. The other 2 rooms weren't necessarily super big. So maybe just do like 2 enemies here. I'm thinking, and is that? Wow, yeah, that is my PC blowing like a lot of hot air into the room, which summer. So my PC is going to be killing me, well, almost literally, over the next 5 to 6 months. Summer starting up, it's been like 25, 26 degrees Celsius, which isn't a lot, but right now inside, I think it's 27, maybe 28. It's going to show the temperature any moment now. Hold on. I want to complain about it being hot. Can you please like cycle through to the next menu so that I can see the thing? 27 degrees Celsius, yes. So 27 is like not comfortable, but it's not that bad. But having like my PC blowing hot air into the room does make it kind of difficult to cool off. It was really nice during the winter, because during the winter I could just play games and it would like actually keep my room warm, which is fantastic. I guess we can just give both of these heavy bullets. Well, we already did a heavy bullet one back there, didn't we? We probably just need more bullet types, to be honest with you. Let's just do basic enemy bullets. And then, how do we have this set up? I think it's just a level door. Used to live in AZ. That's Arizona, I guess, right? I'm bad with all the abbreviations. Arizona in the US, yeah. That's hot. There is the thing, right, where if we're talking like American states, like Florida, heat is like actually horrible. Because it's also like very humid, right? That's kind of what we have going on here as well, but it doesn't get as hot. Like it's not even like properly summer, obviously, it's just like spring. Like proper summer, we get like a couple of heat waves a year that go between like 30, 38 degrees Celsius. But humidity here is like super fucking high. Could be worse. Could definitely be worse. Could be like Australia, right? There it's even hotter and very humid. Like the combination of those would be actually like torturous. But yeah, the humidity makes it kind of like worse. Because this entire goddamn country is within like, well, not within an hour of the coastline. Like there's parts of the country where, I don't know, man. There's not that much. You know, there isn't that much here where you can live like more than an hour away from the sea. Now that I think about it. So you're pretty close to like ocean. And then there's like a bunch of rivers and stuff. Keeping things humid even like a little bit more inland. And spiders. I mean, Australia is also bad because of the spiders and the snakes. And whatever else, like toxic, poisonous things they have over there. Literally everything. Aside from the people. Most Australian people that I've met seem to be wonderful people. But I guess all the toxicity went into the animals in Australia, so there's nothing left for the people. I'm gonna make this room a little bit more straightforward than the last one we did, because the last one, when we gave people a like choice reward for stats, I set up this entire thing where I can go like left or right and close off those doors. I'm just gonna put a couple of things down and make them destroy the rest whenever they're picked up. I feel like that's probably the easiest way to do this. And with like this whole setup here, hopefully we'll have kind of like taught the point that you're gonna like have to choose. And if not, I can always just put like literally a sign down that pops up like a dialogue, choose wisely, or some stuff like that. I do want it to be somewhat symmetrical though, so that's like 1, 2, 3, I already lost count, as 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and a dark one. It says on a dark one, good. 14 and a dark one, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and a dark one. So don't lose sight of it now. This is symmetrical. Or at least I hope it is. It's symmetrical enough for me. I also want to set this back to increments of 100. Anyway, how's everybody's project been going? There's, the game jam starts tomorrow, so anybody in chat going to be joining that one? I will be making the thumbnail and setting the video to announce the start of it live after the stream. I already have the video, I just need to like schedule it as like a premiere. It probably doesn't even need to be that long, to be honest with you. Could maybe even be like 1, 2, 3. I don't know, what was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more narrow to both sides, which means that this can just be 500. let's stick with that. That's good. So I think what I want to do here is I just want to give you the choice of every type of power up. So we just copy them over like that. And do they all fit within this? Well, that's actually fantastic. So maybe what we can even do, this could be fun. This could be fun. Hold on. What we could do is we could give you like 2 power-ups here. Which, at that point, wouldn't it be better to just like let you pick 2? But maybe you want to pick the same one twice. Let's just stick with 1 for now. So I'm kind of thinking we need to go into the level blueprint here. I'm not going to like link these all individually together. I'm just going to say when any one of these is destroyed, also destroy like all the others. Because that's essentially what we need to do anyway. So we go into here. There we go. We create the... Blueprint's been super like sluggish today for me. I don't know why. Maybe it is the fact that it's a little bit hotter outside and my PC is actually like having trouble like dumping its heat. Could that be the case? Am I like clocking back my like CPU speed? I kind of doubt it. Yeah, no, CPU speed is still at like 4.2 gigahertz, so that's like definitely not the case. So that should be fine. So it's been a little sluggish today, I don't know why. So I was blaming Linux for it earlier today, but I think it might just be my PC. I don't know. Might just be the disk that's... Oh, maybe the disk is getting hot. That is fair, because my GPU is probably dumping a lot of heat into the case, and the disks aren't getting like a lot of fresh air. Yeah, so maybe the SSD is overheating. That's something worth looking into. Yeah, so we just make an array. We already have a make array here that we can copy over. Why do you do this? For all pickups. Oh, they're damaged. Okay, so we just need to... Ooh, how are we going to do that? Guess we just make a variable pickup. We just need to set the proper type for it. So pickup. We have a base pickup, right? Do we? Is one of these just the base class? Because that would be terrible. Oh, it's power up. That's the type, okay. Yeah, no, that makes sense, okay. So that would be power up. Object reference. You can just remove that in a moment. All that we need to do is we need to like hook up 2 of these different ones, and that way it will stay with that as its type. It's just kind of annoying the way that that works, but that's how we're going to set that up. For each loop, when this is complete, we assign on destroyed loop body for each one of these. For each loop, is valid, and if it is valid, we destroy that one as well. So this way, we just destroy everything when we destroy any one of them. And that should be everything we have to do for that. So yeah, that's a lot more straightforward than the whole like convoluted different path thing that we have set up over here. This is a lot more fun. I just don't want to copy this entire setup back over here. Then again, I guess we can just like literally copy over the entire setup, can't we? We can just group them together and put another one of those over here, but I don't really want to do that. So we're just gonna keep it at this. And then just line these up a little bit better. This is the one thing that if I am going to eventually move over the entire thing to working on Linux, which I'm still not sure that I will, the plugin that I'm using right now doesn't have a Unreal 5.5 version that's Linux compatible. It's compatible with Linux up until 5.4. Where it stops being compatible with Linux. And there is a 5.5 version, clearly, because I'm using it right now. It's just only Windows and Mac OS, which is annoying. But it's also only blockout, so if I decide I can just start doing art for these dungeons instead, and not use this blockout plugin for the rest of the game. Because obviously, since it's just blockout, it's not going to be like this is going to be shipped or anything. So it wouldn't be the end of the world, but I really, really, really like this plugin. And I don't really want to like stop using it. Alright, this is not what I was going to do. What I was going to do is I was going to make 4 smaller rooms. But we still can do that. Hold on. Make them about like this size. That seems about fair. So make it about like twice as long. That's not very square at all. And then I guess what we do is we just kind of put down, maybe we do this from the top perspective. I don't often use that, but maybe I should. Kind of wish that this was aligned to its center now, but at least these are going to be easy to line up. So yeah, that's sections of the, that's not what I wanted to do. That's sections of the different parts of this a little bit more. We can obviously make the holes that go from like one section to the other in the middle for this one maybe, and then on the inside for this one, and on the very outside for this one. We can be creative with that if we want to, which, let me check. Yeah, I think we want to do that. Because otherwise it'll feel a little, just stale and uninspired. Which is, I was going to say, which is what you can call a lot of this game so far, but I hope you won't. I hope this will be a very dynamically inspiring game. I don't know that it will be, at least not in its current state. But eventually, maybe, hopefully, we can get to a point where we can call that. That would be nice. Sometime before like 2032, preferably. With the speed that we're going over the last few months, it's not been that much progress. I am sad to admit. Yeah, let's move this over a little bit more. Okay, and then we're gonna move this one in a little, and then opening there. And then this one we will Well, actually, let's just do this, maybe. Don't do that. That would be a bad idea. So what I'm thinking for this one is maybe having two slightly more narrow passage ways through. So have a bit of like this kind of dealio going on. You might be asking, why is there like any like super like in-depth thought out reasoning for that? No. Not really, no. Just because I felt like it, to be honest with you. And frankly, I think that's the only reason that you really need. Alright, so that'll be the split up of the 4 different rooms. Obviously the rooms are going to then also need to have their nav mesh. So let's copy one over. That could be me, but even just like the speed at which the nav mesh builds seems slower than usual. I think something is like just weird with my PC. I don't know. Might need to like do a couple of disk jacks and stuff. But that wouldn't be a disk thing. That would be like purely CPU. Hopefully you're not dying on me, buddy. Because I can't really like have that right now. Just did my taxes like yesterday, and the government says that I don't have money enough to replace you right now, I'm afraid. So please don't die, okay? Thanks. Let's put down a couple of obstacles in the way next. So what might be fun is, I did like the idea of the like little plus shape almost that we had going on. So what if we just divide up one of the, and if we're going to do that, we might as well just do that with this one down here. So if you divide up this area in like this same plus shape, right? That gives you like a lot of opportunity to dock and hide behind stuff, which I think is fun. Good enough. I don't care about it being like super super symmetrical in these cases, to be honest with you. Now, for this, what I'm thinking is putting like a little wall over here so that coming out of this will be safe, but out of there will be less safe. You might be asking, why would you like make that differentiation? Stop asking questions, please. Then again, you can pretty easily like duck behind this from here. So maybe what we actually should do is like do a little bit more like this. And then maybe even like add in this. The question there becomes, that makes this area like super safe from anything going on here, and also like relatively safe from anything going on here, because you like lose a little bit more of like, well, not really. But it also makes like a lot of what's happening here less dangerous to whatever like when you come through here. I think that's probably like a good thing. Just gotta be sure that I don't accidentally, like, you know, do a Legend of Zelda. If you understand that reference. I think making this into like a small little like zigzaggy type of maze might be like a neat way to go about doing it. Or it might be a terrible way to do it, I don't know. Again, make sure that with all the things that I'm putting down, you're going to be seeing this from the top view, so gotta be careful that I don't accidentally do something stupid. I think that needs a little more room. Might just not be quite enough room to do this properly, to be honest. This might be a little too tight. Let's put down an enemy, and with put down I mean copy over, because I'm too lazy to actually put them down from my actor palette. Oh no, that should be fine. That should be fine. And we'll... And I think just kind of taking the idea of having these random pillars for the last one should be good enough. We've already done that, obviously, but this is going to be 3 pillars instead of 2. Because that makes a huge difference. Because I say so. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now we'll delete the middle one and move everything over so that it's a little bit more centered. Because it's a little close to the outside wall now. Yeah, no, that seemed pretty good. So like 4 here, like 2 or 3 here, like 3 or 4 here, and then like another 4 or 5 there, is what I'm thinking. Their starting positions, like, actually don't matter, because by the time you get here, they're not going to like be in their starting positions. They might not even, frankly, be within their own quadrant anymore. Maybe I should put some... Yeah, let's put some navmesh modifying volumes in, actually, because I do want these to like not go into each other's spaces, I think. Like if they're actively following the player, I think they will still be able to, because they don't actually use the navmesh to move. They only use the navmesh to pick a location to like move to, which is a little wasteful in a way, but eh. So if they follow the player into this area, they will still be able to like go back to patrolling in this area. They won't be able to go back to the original location, but that's fine. It's mostly to prevent a issue where they might just all clump accidentally into one corner and make that absolutely impossible to deal with. But yeah, I think we can like do 4 here, and 4 here also kind of makes sense, doesn't it? And I think we can do like 5 here. For now, they're all going to have just normal bullets, I think, and then I think this also makes sense. So, with all that, now we need to decide how we're going to set up the door out of here. And what I'm thinking is we probably want the door out of here to be right here, so that you can immediately see it when you enter. And then when you clear out the first room, it doesn't open, so you're like, oh, I need to keep exploring. And then when everything is done, hopefully you get the inclination to like go back around. As well as the fact that you can either go like up or left here, and you're going to loop around either way, and you're going to come back here after clearing all the rooms. So it makes most sense in both ways, like from you're starting your position, but also you're gonna like end in this room from that perspective. So I think it makes most sense to put the door in here. So let's do that. That's a very long wall. And we'll need to hook up some stuff to actually make these doors work in a moment, because I'm going to be real with you, kind of forgot to do that for the last door as well. But we'll get to it, I'm sure, at some point. It's back to 100 and set it back to snapping. Yeah, that's pretty good. So that opens up like another door then, which starting to be like quite a big chunk of level at this point compared to the rest of the game, which is, I mean, fair. Is there any significance to your wall thickness? Nope. The only thing that I really care about as regards the thickness of the walls is that I want to make sure that you don't even see like the tops of the walls here, so it doesn't actually matter. There could just be one. It's very loud. I'm sorry about that. They could just be like one unit wide. Are these guys killing themselves? Oh my god, they are. Gotta check that out. So yeah, they could just be one unit wide, to be honest with you. And I don't even think they're necessarily like a consistent depth either, because yeah, here they're just one unit wide. And then here they're like mega wide, and then these are just a little less wide. It's just kind of like dragging a widget around and seeing, okay, this goes into there, and this goes into there, and this goes into there, and then like eventually when we replace this with just like static mesh assets, the assets themselves are probably going to be not even like very thin. They're probably going to be flat, to be honest with you. They're probably going to be flat at this same height without even like having a back face, because you're never going to see that. And every like polygon that you don't need to render, why would you render that polygon, right? So if all goes well, the thickness for these walls will just not exist by the end of this. I think what we do here is we add in a couple of like super powerful upgrades, and we'll let you pick 2 of them, and then we go into the boss fight. Because again, this doesn't need to be like an entire like whole game in here. It's just something to do for like 5 to 10 minutes and get back into the actual game. It doesn't need to be like too long. And the bigger we make this, the more I need to like start thinking about like making different bullets, or maybe like making even like different enemy types, which I really don't want to do. I would really rather like just have a couple of different bullet types, and before that gets boring, we are moving on back to the main gameplay. Because this has already taken like quite a bit of development time, and hopefully, like some of the other ones are also going to be taking quite a bit of development time, I imagine, at least in like the coding sense. Hopefully, they won't generally take as much time when it comes to like level design. I think that this is going to be one of the more like level design heavy pace breakers that we do, because there's going to be the turn-based RPG that I want to make, which is going to be probably the most like development intensive overall. That's going to need a disproportionate amount of like actual coding done for it to like make it work. We're going to code it probably a little bit janky because it is a small scale. But then actually like building the levels to like house that turn-based RPG as well is gonna probably take a while. But then we have like an on-rail shooter segment, which is gonna be super easy to code. It's just gonna be, hey, we have an actor that moves along a spline, and our player possesses that actor, and then we can shoot from there. And that's just like line traces. And then we just need to like make the like very specific like rail segments for that, which is going to require a little bit of work, but probably less than this, to be honest with you. It's going to be a little bit more art, maybe. And then I also want to make like a factory game, which is going to be mostly code. To be honest with you, you just mostly need to like set up the systems for like the like conveyor belting around of items, and like placing them down and interacting with that. And then the actual like level design is literally just going to be like an empty room that you can place those things down into. So that's going to be all code. And then we have like 2 or 3 more that I need to like come up with genres for. But that's the ideas that I have so far. And all the while, we're also making like the actual like action RPG around it because I hate myself apparently. I don't know why I thought any of this was a good idea, but at this point we're so far in that I can't really stop anymore. That's only half joking. Because obviously I'm enjoying doing all this work. Well, I'm enjoying doing most of this work. There's definitely parts of this that I do despise, and things that I am like quite nervous about. Like I need to at some point soon to like sit down for like, that's not how that works, for like just the majority of like an entire week and just start making art assets. Because we are at that point now. We have gotten to the point where like I do need to start making art assets to like start filling out the actual art of the game. Because otherwise we're gonna, I think I talked about this in the last stream as well, otherwise we're gonna end up in a situation where the entire game is like mechanically done and I will be doing nothing but art for like a year. And that's gonna drive me insane. So I don't want to do that. So yeah, I think Catacomb Art we should get started on pretty soon. But that's also going to be the thing that I probably place the action RPG in. So, or the, well, the entire thing is an action RPG. The turn-based RPG, I mean. So I might do the turn-based RPG mechanics first. I'll probably do them side by side, to be honest with you. I'm just debating on whether or not I want to do the turn-based RPG on stream or not. Because I feel like that's such a massive undertaking that it could be interesting to do on stream, but it would also be super inefficient to do like 3-4 hours of work while I'm also like getting distracted hanging out with like people in chat. To do that, because that's going to take like 3-4 weeks to even like get a rough system down. Whereas if I just sit down on a day where I can like muster up the focus to like get sucked into this, I can make the entire thing in a day. So I kind of feel like I probably should make the entire thing in a day and not stream it. And then we can maybe, I don't know when I'll do this, but... I've been doing animations for the past 8 weeks. Speak about tedium. So yeah, that's what I kind of want to avoid, is doing all of the work that I want to do right now. And on the scale that I'm working on, that means that all the work that I don't want to do, if I keep pushing that off, that's going to be all that's left to do of the game. And that is like entire months worth of work. Everything that I don't particularly want to do. So I really need to start like sprinkling in that work to prevent myself from getting into a situation where those are the only things left to do. I also don't need to like start overcommitting to actually like using those art assets yet. I can definitely like make effectively like a tile set of 3D assets, and then still wait implementing those into the dungeons if I want to like do another round of testing for the dungeon. But I do need to start making the assets, for which I also do need to like 1000% like be decided on the visual style, and I'm pretty decided on the visual style as far as like the cell shading goes, but that also like needs to translate into my 3D models to a certain extent, because just slapping some cell shading post-processing onto something and calling it a day is not a visual style. That doesn't create a cohesive visual style, right? And I am not enough of an artist that's going to come like super naturally to me, as you can probably like see in a lot of my like enemy designs. They aren't super cohesive in like a visual language, which is not ideal. For the characters, I feel like I can kind of get away with that, because that does give every character its own like personality and its own well character, while still being similar enough, I think, that they feel like they like come from the same source, me. But I can't really do that too much with world design. At least like I can do that within like different dungeons, having like slight differences, of course, in like stylistic choices. But within the same dungeon, things do need to be like fairly cohesive when it comes to like environment art, and I am not a like amazing artist to be able to like do that easily. So I'm a little nervous about that. I'm not gonna lie to you, but it's also kind of exciting in that it's a cool challenge. So yeah, before I forget, I also want to pull in these 3 things. So remember when I said Blueprint is good for linear scripting? Yeah, it's literally this. I am going to make this into a sequence because this is very quickly going to become a goddamn mess. So I want to do this, then this, so that they're like disconnected and I can just move them like on top of each other. Makes things a little easier to like read. As long as you have pronounced jiggle physics, everything is gonna be fine. I mean, maybe I do need to just make a character that is like very overtly like female, so that I can have what the fuck even was I thinking there? Jiggle physics. That probably would like make me sell about 10 times as many copies. Not gonna lie. I'm gonna do that. But that would be really funny. And while I'm at it, I also like at some point need to start like implementing Steam achievements, which I think like Unreal has like already baked in stuff for, right? Yeah, you can write progress. Apparently this is a broken function, though, but yeah, the achievements, you can just like there's no just finish achievement. So I guess we just write progress, and if it is 100%, it just sends it as being finished. I don't know. I'll need to look into that. And then also start deciding on how I want to like structure the code to like keep track of achievements and that kind of stuff. Okay, so we have all of that now. We need to do these, and then gate 3 can be integer, not integer. 64. Are you insane? Delete this one. Not using that anymore. And now we just pretty much do this again. I probably should start commenting these loops so that I can easily identify them, but yeah, so we just do TwinStick enemy, TwinStick enemy, delete all these. We can get rid of this last pin, remove, there we go, and then we open the door for this one. And then we just do the exact same thing, but instead with like 15 enemies or something like that. Luckily I don't need to count because it just uses the length of the array, because I am smart like that. I probably should have made a function for that now that I think about it. Because I do have the same code like 6 times in this level. That's all of it is. So, create. It's literally 16 of them. Okay, that makes sense because it's 4 by 4. Yeah, and I removed one from one and I added one to the other. So there's 6. Yeah, that adds up. I'm gonna be real with you. I just threw out 16 as a random number, but yeah, no, it is like definitely 16. So I wish there was a convenient way to connect up multiple of these to a make array node all at once. Like if I just had this and I could just like right click make array, there probably is a like editor utility function that you can make for that, to be honest. Maybe you should look into that, because that would be very convenient, because I've complained about this exact thing like 100 times. I'm sure that there is like even a blueprint friendly way to do this, but if nothing else, I'm sure that there's like a C++ thing that I can do, but I don't know that I care enough about that, to be honest with you. Then again, I did make the thing where like it auto converts to a actor's location when you put a actor pin into a vector. So in my defense, that does tend to come up a lot more than make array specifically. So yeah, just need to make sure that we actually are incrementing the right one here. I guess we're going through these linearly, so if we want to like super optimize this, what we could do is we could just reset the gate counter after every single one, and we don't need to make it separate. Yeah, that probably would have been good, eh? Oh well. We have it the way that we have it now, and we're going to stick with it. I haven't been on live streaming a whole minute. Well, I've been pretty inconsistent with live streaming over the last like 2 months because I've had all the like dental issues and internet issues, and mostly dental issues, to be honest with you. But before that, internet issues. So out of the last like 5 weeks, we should have had like 10 streams. I think I've had like 6, maybe. If that. So yeah, missing streams that don't happen is like, yeah, that makes sense. That like totally adds up. That said though, this should very much, pretty much, essentially, do we have any other synonyms for that? I don't know, maybe. Finish it up. And now we can make like a room here for the boss fight. And that means that I'm gonna have to make a boss fight, which... Remember when we were making a hack-and-slash action RPG? Yeah, those were good times, weren't they? We'll make a twin-stick shooter now, apparently. Because I am once again insane. Oh, they still do like commit Sudoku. Why is that? Do they not have proper spawn point names? Oh, the spawn point names of TwinStick enemies changed to bullets. That's weird. Oh, yeah, no, that's not weird. That makes sense. So yeah, left and right capitalized. That is, we'll fix that. Left and right. And then I do need to go and check out the other thingy-jig over here. Anyway, how are you? If you haven't been in the stream for a while, have you made any progress on whatever you're working on? Have you? See, you're going to come back here. I'm going to hold you accountable for like, doing work, because sure as hell I'm not doing work, so you better be. Yeah, this one just uses bullet. Okay, let's try that again. Oh yeah, I did want to also make the character 8-directional, didn't I? Because I do think that's going to actually like straight up make things... Oh fuck, this is actually like kind of difficult. What the hell? I've been avoiding DTA's data tables, I presume, like a plague. Only data assets for this guy. I mean, they have separate uses, I would argue. But I personally, in most cases, also prefer to like make a data asset with an array in it over making a data table. To be honest with you, so I totally get I totally get you there. Like in this case, I'm using a data table, and I mean, I won't say that I'm not liking it, but I think I would have liked using data assets more. So make of that what you will. Fuck. Oh, god damn it! I forgot about the thing that I played down there. Oh god. You know what? You're actually kind of getting me. I probably should make a checkpoint. Did they kill each other, or did I just absolutely nuke these fools? I think I kind of want to like have full health. I think I might have just nuked. Yeah, I'm one-shotting these guys. What the hell did I pick up as far as like what? I mean, this feels good. Don't get me wrong, but I think one of the damage upgrades that I picked up might have had like a 10x damage increase. Like, treat it as if it's like additive instead of multiplicative. Yeah, that fool's also like, they're all like bugged, right? They're all absolutely fucked up because, oh, because they're getting stuck on walls. Yeah, I probably should fix that. Well, I can't really fix the getting stuck on walls thing with the way that they work at the moment. So yeah, I'll have to do one health upgrade, and then I don't remember which one is which. I think this is fire rate, right? Yeah. Anyway, let's I use maps to organize a little bit better than no hard references or loading all the rows. Yeah, so that's an issue with data tables, is that they do load everything. But if you're going to be like loading in assets through a data table, you just use soft references in your table, and you should still be good to go. But generally, like data tables are very nice for like storing data, and not necessarily like storing like object references or anything like that. They can. You can just like add static meshes or whatever, or like textures into them if you want to. But they're like particularly good for like stuff like this, where we have like a couple of numbers. And in this case, it does also store like Boolean effects, which is less than ideal. So ideally, these would be soft references, and only when they like actually get loaded in would they like then actually load in those Niagara files. In this case, there's going to be so little of them that I don't really care. But yeah, if you have like stuff like this, or I have like my like type, yeah, it's not gonna work, is it? Like weakness chart, effectiveness, damage. Yeah, I'll do this another way. Enemy. You have a BP basic enemy, I think, right? Enemy base. There we have it. In which I have deal damage. And in there, I at some point, I think, maybe on the interface, apply damage. Somewhere in here, surely. I'm using a data table. Yeah, so I have a resistance table here for like elemental resistances, right? And I'm like, this is just a table of, hey, with this name, get these like damage multiplier numbers, and that's just like a map for like a enum and a float. Like it just doesn't matter if this entire thing is loaded in memory at all times, because it is like literally a couple of bytes per row. So like you're pretty like good to go with these. Obviously, it would still save some memory, but at some point, like you're saving like dozens or hundreds of bytes, and like complicating your code because of it. So you probably don't want to do that. So for stuff like this, data tables are like actually really like quite nice, because having to make a separate asset for every single like resistance response that you could have. So for every enemy, you also then have a separate asset. At that point, you might as well just have them on the class itself. But editing them is going to be annoying because that's spread out over like a billion different classes. So having a central place to like edit this stuff is really nice. So data tables can be can be good for that. Still, making like a singular data asset that holds this information also would work. But at that point, like you're making a data table with extra steps, which I mean is fine. Do I not have a tutorial on the health bar? I might not. That's actually a very good point. Let me hold on. Let me list that down in my tutorials to make, because I don't think I have a tutorial on that, and that's a fantastic idea to do one on. So health bar. That's a really good idea. Started C++ factory plugin to create items and such on the fly. in BPA ensure that the right information. Yeah, I also like at some point like made one for my inventory plugin, like a engine exposed factory thing. Where is it? It's in inventory, drop table, and item, right? Really nice to just be able to like make an item, and it even like gets me all of these subclasses off of the item class. Like, do I want to make a consumable item? That kind of stuff. And it just makes an item data asset. And then it crashes my engine. Yeah, so that's maybe worth looking into. I don't know why I did that. I mean, it might have been an Unreal Engine thing. It might have been me setting up something wrong in the factory function for it. I don't know. Might have just like not registered with like the fucking file registry or something, so that every chance that it's me setting up something wrong. I actually find that I don't end up using those factory functions like at all because I usually just copy over an existing asset. Mostly because that's what I'm like used to doing, but it's nice to have. And at some point, if I like ever want to put this inventory out, plugin out into the world for other people to use, I'm not gonna like sell a lot of it on the marketplace because it's probably not gonna be like replicated. Because I didn't build it with replication in mind, and retrofitting it to replicate just because other people will want it to replicate is probably not something that I'm interested in doing, especially since there's already a bunch of replicated inventory systems on the market. So at this point, if I'm like putting this thing up for other people for sale, I'm just doing it because if people like see me work with my inventory system and they want to use it, they can like buy it, but I'm not like actually making it to sell it, if that makes sense. So I'm probably not gonna like make it replicated. I don't even know why I started talking about that, to be honest with you. Already lost my train of thought about that. So... Oh, it's probably this fucker, isn't it? Yeah, damage multiplier increase. That's a multiplier. So let's do... I have a stuffed nose. It's really annoying when I talk. Fucking allergies, man. Let's do another 50% on this one. This is the rate of fire. Increases by 1.25. Was there something else that I needed to change about any of this? I think I want to increase the base rate of fire as well. Also, maybe I want to make this directional right now. But I'm just thinking about how I would go about doing that in the code. Maybe Copilot has like an ID for me. It's probably going to be a bad idea, but we can check it out. So we have the stuff here. It's the inventory plugin, blueprint utilities plugin, source. There we go. TwinStick doesn't have TwinStick player in it. It's in player. Of course, it's in player. All right. Move. Look at target. Okay, so this is the TwinStick enemy. I want to do the TwinStick player. My bad. Move player, look player. Okay, so look angle, we get that. and we want to round to 8 directional movements. Does that make sense? Convert to degrees. We don't really need to do that because we already do that in there. So round to int, look angle divided by pi divided by 4 multiplied by pi divided by 4. I'm gonna just like separately. This is one of those things that I just don't know the formula for this off the top of my head to like round this because I hate circles, man. I hate circles. Anything that's to do with like just snapping to the world is you do just like divide by round and then multiply by that same amount again, and then you effectively have like positional snapping, which is fantastic. I have a float in C++ working with Unreal that represents my my input rotation from my controller. I want to make this snap to be only 8 directional instead of full 360 rotation freedom. Let's see if they give me the same answer. So it'll at least like explain it a little bit more to me. So we have this, right? It replaces it with this whole dealio, where I did mess something up a little bit. Wait, what? Oh, we already have the look angle. Okay, so we have look angle, we get that, then we normalize the angle to 0 2 times pi. Divide the circle into 8 directions, each 45 degrees or a quarter pi radians. Then we do direction, round in, look angle divided by snap radians, and then we do modulo 8. Float snaps angle is direction index, so we then do this with snapped angle instead. Let's see if that works. Because again, math. No, I just want to add adirectional snapping, because right now it's just taking the like literal 360 degree like freedom of rotation, which actually makes it less consistent because it is so fine-tuned, and if you're like even a couple of degrees off, your bullets fly off in like super a different direction over a longer range. So it actually feels less predictable and consistent than it would, I think, if we just had adirectional inputs. So I'm trying to like make it snap to being only like up, down, left, right, and the diagonals. So that way you can like move in one direction and shoot in the other direction and be reasonably sure like what direction you're going to be shooting in. So that hopefully is a little bit more consistent with how you hit things. That's the basic idea anyway. I don't know if it's going to work. It might also feel horrible, and we might just revert back to just using the look angle as it is, but... Okay. So... Yeah, no, that does work. Because we have this, and then... I'm like wiggling around a little bit. So it does work. Meaning we can like do this a little bit more like reasonably. I think that this does make it feel a bit better. Maybe I will change my mind at some point, but for now I think that this is nice to do. And then if people like playtest it and they're like, hey, it's actually really annoying that it works this way, then I can always revert it back and then I'll show them and they'll be probably be like, oh no, you're right. This is much more annoying than having it snap adirectional. Is my hope and dream. Or maybe they'll just tell me I suck. Because people like doing that. I also think that the default rate of fire should just be higher. This kind of does feel like what a twin-stick shooter would feel like at the start of the game, but I don't have a lot of time to like progress through an entire twin-stick shooter progression. So I feel like the original like starting rate of fire should be a little higher, so that the like not that high obviously. Like what that green dude's doing is like actually insane. But it also shouldn't grow too much out of control, because if you just get rate of fire upgrades every... Yeah, so if you just get like this one rate of fire upgrade, you're like instantly like really quite like powerful. Yeah, this whole obstacle really comes down to the timing, because if you land here at the right time, it's really easy to just like make your way through. Oh yeah, I wanted to make checkpoints. Now I remember. Yeah, definitely need a health here. I also think that every enemy, when they die, needs to have like a 10% chance to drop a random upgrade for you. To add a little bit of randomness into this, which means that you might not need to start with like higher stats because of that. Right? Because you'll get higher stats through like killing the enemies. And their AI also needs to be fixed, because again they don't actually use the nav mesh, so they only are supposed to walk in straight directions that they can reach. I guess what we need to do is, when they don't move for a certain amount of time, like when the distance to their desired location doesn't decrease, we just give them a new desired location. Yeah, so the issue with the AI is because they don't use a nav mesh to move, because I don't know why I decided to do that, but I did, and at this point it's a little too late to like go back on that. Well, it's never too late, but what they do is they use the nav mesh to pick a location that they move to, and the way that they move, and that's kind of the reason that I did it the way I did it, because they use a floating pawn movement that doesn't have like a built-in rotate in your movement direction option like the character movement does. What I did is I just rotate them toward the direction that they're trying to move in, and then just move them into their own forward direction, which will make these like fairly nice curves, but it also means that they're terrible at dealing with walls. Like in open spaces, they actually work fairly well and they look pretty good, but they are actually terrible at dealing with navigating around walls. So what I'm thinking is if they get stuck, I just will like hard code them to pick a new location, and if they still like get stuck, like I'll just check like every second or so while it's moving, if it is actually moving closer, and if not, it's gonna pick a new location, and if it picks a new location and it's moving closer to it, it's gonna pick a new location, and it's gonna do that like once a second. I think that's a pretty fair way to do this. It's not a like super solid way to deal with it, but it's good enough, I think. I hope, maybe. So we have like this drone patrol, right? And this just does event tick. So I guess we can do a... Do we already have a enter state? Oh, on enter state, so get random location. We can just make a new event, set target location. And on enter state we set target location, and then we also set a timer, custom event, distance to goal. And we'll set this distance to goal because we're already calculating that anyway to see if we've reached the goal, right? So we just set that, and once a second we're going to be checking that. I guess it is a pretty simple thing to do, so maybe we can just do that in event tick itself. That probably would be fine. Well, doing it once a second is probably enough. So let's just do this once a second. Check if our distance to goal is less than like all of this, essentially, right? Let's just make sure. Yeah. So we're checking if the distance to goal that we set. That's actually not going to work that way, is it? Because we're setting this every single second. So yeah, maybe we do this in, or every single frame. So maybe we, yeah, only set this every second. So if we have our distance to goal, which is the, let's call this previous distance to goal, is less than, well, no, we need to turn this around. So if our current distance to goal, we're going to get there, is less than our previous distance to goal, we just set our new distance to goal. But if it is not less than, it's going to be the same, which means that we set target location. I think that's a good enough solution, maybe. And then on exit, we probably want to like clean up, like promote to variable, because timers do get set on like a world basis, I believe. So we do want to like end timer, stop timer. Maybe Blueprint takes care of that by itself. If you invalidate, yeah, clears a set timer. There we go. That might make their behavior a little bit better. I'm not gonna like fly all the way over there. What I'm just gonna do is I'm just gonna F8 out of here, and I'm just gonna hopefully that still disappears. The birds are gonna be a little bit louder than usual because my door's open, obviously. So yeah, let's see if these little motherfuckers. That one seemed like it was going. Yeah, so this is getting stuck and then it's finding a new location that it's moving. So it actually is kind of working. This also immediately helps when they start like circling. Like this dude here is circling the position that it's supposed to go to. It kind of does make them seem a lot more like hectic as well. So maybe like their weight. Well, I guess what they could do instead when they aren't. Yeah, I think there's a better idea. I think instead of setting a new target location, what they can do is they can just finish the task. Maybe unsuccessfully. Does that really matter? Because we'll just do on state completed anyway. In case we get it later down the line. That will still make them wait. So they won't be like bouncing around as much, I don't think. And either way, it's just so that they don't get stuck with their like nose into a wall. And they will be able to like see the player and start like shooting at the player when that becomes like relevant. So I think that's fine for now. Let's go to the TwinStick enemy, and when this thing dies, we also want a... Making a brain for another thing is hard work. I know, right? Making a brain for another human being is a lot easier than making a brain from a computer. Well, certain parts of it all. Spawn actor from class. We just want a 10% chance here, so we do a random float in range 0 to 100. Whether that is less than 10. If it is, we spawn something. If it isn't, we do this. Get actor location. Quick question about naming conventions. If I have an actor that is a manager that will be in the world, do I still name it BPX or do I leave it the BP so it's readable in the outliner? I mean, in the end of, at the end of the day, naming conventions are like entirely up to you. Aside from a couple of things in C++, but if you're like working in Blueprint and that kind of stuff, it doesn't really matter. There's certain things that are enforced in C++, is what I'm saying. But like within Blueprint, generally naming conventions like aren't enforced by the engine. It's just so that you yourself can like easily see at a glance what something is. And if you're like your project scales up, you're gonna want to have that. Like not everything is labeled as BP. Like not every Blueprint. If I go, in my case anyway, these are the name conventions that I use, I should say. If I go into like my blueprints, I think it's in characters player, my gameplay ability system. Like here we have a couple of blueprints that I just prefix with BP. But for instance, these gameplay abilities, I also... Okay, I'm not consistent with these. That's bad on my part. But I at some point started labeling like gameplay abilities with GA. They're still blueprints. everything is a blueprint when you like make it in the engine as a blueprint. But these are gameplay abilities, so it's just easy for me at a glance to see that, hey, this blueprint is a gameplay ability. And then we have like this gameplay effects is GE, which should be in this folder. But we have all our gameplay effects, which are GE. So like it's the important bit is for yourself to be consistent. Aside from that, it doesn't really like matter what you do. So I probably would still call it BP. Oftentimes the BP thing also comes in because a object will have an underlying C++ class. So my TwinStick enemy here is a great example. I have this C++ class called TwinStick enemy. But then I also have like a blueprint version of it where I implement the, hey, can you shut up? Just loud people going by with like their motorcycles. But then in this blueprint thing where I implement some other things like this, like the damage system, spawning in the Niagara system, spawning in the other actor that I need to like not forget to do in a moment, doing the state tree stuff. I do all that in blueprint because it's just easier to set up in blueprint. So I mark it as BP TwinStick enemy to differentiate between what is the blueprint and what is the C++ class. So that is generally where like the BP underscore thing comes in to begin with. Like that's where that comes from mostly. But if you think like in the world outliner having everything like marked as BP underscore is going to make it more difficult to read, which is 1000% fair. Because it's actually like at that point it's working against what you're like looking for. Because what you're looking for is something that can identify certain types of objects at a glance. So if marking everything as just BP underscore their name is making that more difficult for you, because everything is marked BP, so now it's impossible to see anything at a glance because the rest of the name is getting cropped off more. Definitely like don't force yourself to like use that BP prefix. Instead of leaving it off, I would probably make it a different prefix. If you have like a manager object, I would probably like do MA underscore the name, so that you can still like scroll through and you know that you're looking for like a manager object, so you're on the lookout for MA, and there's probably going to be only a few manager objects. So that's probably what I would do. But it's entirely, again, like up to yourself. I think what we're gonna do is, can I like get random from array or something? Like make array, then we delete this again. Oh no, we don't delete that again. Random array item, then we delete this, and I put that back in there. And then I just select a couple of different ones here. So we have the like HP. Yeah, I think MAN for manager is probably like a good prefix to use. If you you can also, if you prefer, that's something not a lot of people do. So if you're going to be working with other people, it's maybe going to be confusing. But I've seen some people, instead of like prefixing stuff like BP, 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 they suffix things instead. So it would be like weapon particles underscore BPI instead of BPI underscore weapon particles. That's also a thing that you could do. The issue is, at that point in the world outliner, you're not going to be seeing the suffixes. But if it's specifically annoying you in the world outliner, making it a suffix will probably like get out of your way in the world outliner, but it will still show you the like suffix name like in your like content browser, like your Explorer here. So that's maybe a way that you could also like change it up to like better suit whatever like feels good for yourself. Okay, I just need to figure out what these things are actually called. Hold on. BP damage pickup, BP rate of fire pickup, pickup increased speed. So yeah, I'm very inconsistent with the names here even. So I'm just gonna look for pickup is what I'm gonna do. Yeah, so we have damage pickup. Rate of fire pickup. Ideally these would be weighted, but I don't think I like really care that much. So 10% chance of spawning any four of these four. Any one of these four, I should say. So that means that we have like about 20 enemies in it. This is about 16, that's 18, that's 19, that's about 21, that's about like 24 if I count correctly. So on average there will be 2.4 extra upgrades that drop throughout the entirety of the game with their like defaults. With their default settings. Is there any convenient way that I can do that as non-default? Like this definitely should be like a 25% increase maybe. Then the healing pickup I don't think we're using at all. Increase max HP, we're increasing by 15. It's mostly just a full heal. Increase speed pickup, this just adds, let's say 50% speed instead. Rate of fire pickup. Oh, that's on my monitor. There's also a multiplier where the default value is 15, so I guess we'll just add 1. Doubles the rate of fire every single time. Might be a bit much, but we'll see. And speed pickup we already did. Okay, that should make the entire thing a little bit more manageable, and I do think that I'm going to go back in real quick and set the default rate of fire to be slightly higher than it is right now. Just because it is a little bit annoying to deal with. So just starting it in a slightly better place is probably nice. Yeah, rate of fire is... Well, I guess it's set by the bullets, isn't it? So I can just do that in here. Basic player, the default rate of fire is 1. So yeah, let's set that to like a quarter of a second faster. So that's a decent bit better, I think. Well, that's probably... Let's just give it a try. I'll just see how it goes. I also think that maybe these things, the enemies are just dealing like quite a bit of damage, and they really do pile onto you. But they also do damage each other, which... I don't know if I want to fix that, because that wasn't intended, but I also think it's kind of funny. So maybe we just want to keep it around. I think we're going to just want to keep that around, to be honest with you, because it's kind of just funny. And largely like not that big a deal. I do like rate of fire more than damage in these types of games usually, because it's easy to just like spray and pray, right? Oh my god! Yeah, maybe I do need to time these in a way that they actually like start when you like fly up to them for the first time, because otherwise it's too easy to just like fly into that corridor and get absolutely nuked. You know, the damage output for these It's a little high. And I think I'm at the max rate of fire now, but yeah, so that just lets you absolutely, like, clown on these fools. So far, I have none upgrades. I swear, if I kill one of these things and it actually drops, like, a rate of fire upgrade, I'm gonna lose my mind. So far, like, statistically speaking, I should have gotten, like, 2 by now. I've gotten 0. Or I've missed them. That's entirely possible as well. Holy shit, I am a god! Oh, there we have one. It's damage. Because I wasn't melting these fools quick enough yet. Because at this point, I think at this point I one-shot them again if I hit both bullets at once. Oh, no I don't. Yeah, so some of these are going to maybe need to be, like, spiced. I think the later ones at least need more health. I think the damage scaling is pretty good. Maybe a little too high. But they definitely need to be a little bit more beefy themselves, I think. But I was just like, just a little bit of a fun distraction, guys. I should time how long that took me. Did anybody like keep an eye out on the like stream timer while I was doing that? I feel like it was like 3 or 4 minutes. Add in a boss fight on top of that, I think that's pretty good. So yeah, I think these should have, like, these have damage multiplier as well, right? So yeah, we can just set the damage multiplier for these early ones to be a little bit lower so that it's a little bit more forgiving. So just set these to only deal half damage. Their max health about 30 is good. Then we get an upgrade on every single one of our stats. And then we keep these at just the normal values. This one has a little bit more health, but aside from that, that's good. I think putting some trigger volumes around to make sure that these like trigger in a way that actually like warns you probably makes sense. Then this one I think we're going to want to like beef up a little bit to like 75 HP. And I'm going to beef up his rate of fire as well, because it's only the one here as well, right? And then these are both going to be like 55 and like also 75. Because there's the two of them, I'm going to keep the rate of fire and the damage multiplier on the same here. And then for all of these, because you've gotten yet another upgrade, I'm changing their max health to like probably 80 each, and then I'll set a couple of these to be like tanks, like heavy. This update all of them, right? Yes. So this can just be the normal one, and then I think like in here maybe set 1 to... I probably should just make this like an enum and make it look up in a map, because that's so much smoother to do than going back in here and saying like heavy bullets and that kind of stuff. Well, if I ever make an actual TwinStick shooter, that's probably what we're going to end up doing. But for now, this should be fine. Make this like 110. But set the rate of fire of everything else in here to being like 60%. And then I think making these two both heavy bullets as well. Let's make these 90. And this one I think I want to make fast bullets. But I'll slow it down a little bit. So the rate of fire for this one I will set to like 75%. And this is going to go back down to like 50 HP as well. Yeah, so that kind of customizes all the enemies that we got so far. I also think that the default movement speed is a little on the slow side. So, where's my thing? Where's my dude? TwinStick player. We have a variable for the default movement speed, I think. Right? Yeah, default movement speed. So let's set that to like 1850 instead. That feels better already. Yeah, I think that feels better. You know, that's actually kind of manageable. Taking into account that I've been like playing this now a couple of times, so I'm going to naturally be better at it. But I do think that like this progression, especially with having all those upgrades back to back there, it kind of does give you a nice feeling of the progression of what like a Binding of Isaac run would feel like. Where you start out really slow and sluggish and like underpowered, and then you slowly start like becoming more powerful. But instead of it being slowly, it's fairly quickly in this case. Where is... Oh, that's hilarious. So, yeah, sometimes that thing will obviously just die because it runs into the fire from those turrets. That is... Oh my god! Yeah, so maybe having invincibility frames would kind of be nice here. I think we're going to need to like set up invincibility frames, which will be pretty easy. We can just do that entirely in Blueprint even if we want to, because we can just use the delay node. Like set iframe bool to true, delay, set it back to false. And then whenever we receive damage, we just check, hey, do we have iframes, yes or no, and that's kind of it. Very hard-coded because, yeah, we're not using like gameplay tags for this or anything. So I can feel myself using, like just by muscle memory, gameplay tricks that I also like picked up in the Binding of Isaac, where you like move into the direction of your shots to kind of like barrage an enemy when you have an opening to like attack them. Without thinking about it, the fact that I'm doing that is probably a good sign. Because that means that the gameplay, at least to me, feels intuitive. It's the same way that at some point I had a moment where I'm like, I'm playing this in the way that I would be playing a fast-paced Kingdom Hearts battle for my like normal gameplay, right? And that is, again, good, because that is what I want the game to more or less feel like. A low-budget version of that, obviously, but that's what I want the game to feel like. And the moment that I caught myself kind of just like zoning into that mental zone that I go into when I play a game like Kingdom Hearts or like Final Fantasy like 15 or 16. 15 hesitantly mentioned because that is a very different type of mental zone that I go into, because I'm also like constantly annoyed at the fact that the combat is kind of ass in Final Fantasy 15. Still, it looks amazing and it feels amazing, and like the visual feedback and like the game feel is really good, and like a lot of the stuff that happens there is way beyond anything that this game is ever going to be able to do. But that doesn't take away the fact that as a whole, Final Fantasy 15's combat is kind of ass. But like that action RPG hack and slash like mind space, like I catch myself going into that while playing my own game sometimes. And I think that's a good sign. And I kind of have the same thing going on here. I kind of just go into a very simplified, very less stressed version of what my mind goes to when I play The Binding of Isaac. Which I haven't done in a while, actually. And that's kind of the vibe that we're going for, I think. So, yeah, no, I think that we're making some good progress here. I think that we pretty much have the skeleton of this this area done. We just need to put in a boss fight. And, you know, the thing is, I'm kind of hesitating on whether or not I want to start that boss fight right now, this moment. Because I have been live for 2 hours. It is still pretty hot. I would very much like to turn off Unreal so that my PC stops also blasting hot air into my room, so that I can cool down a little bit before I need to go to sleep in a couple of hours. So I'm kind of tempted to say, hey, let's just call it here for today. And then on Tuesday we'll be back and have an entire stream to dedicate to doing that boss fight. Because there's also no way that even if I keep going for another half an hour, like I usually would, we're not going to be finishing that boss fight, and it's going to be super annoying to have to stop halfway through. So I would then probably make the stream an hour and a half longer from what it is now, and I'm definitely not feeling up to doing that today. So yeah, I think we're going to call it here a little early today. We'll be back on Tuesday. It won't be as hot on Tuesday either, so that'll be very helpful. At least if the weather reports currently are any good indication. So we won't have that problem anymore, and hopefully I'll be a little bit more well rested because we'll just have had the weekend, and I will not have worked myself half to death. That's a joke, because of course I will have. So yeah. We did a bit of progress here today, at least. We did a little bit of this, and mostly just this. And looking at it like that, we didn't actually do that much, but I think it's good enough for today. And yeah, I will be back on Tuesday doing the rest of this dungeon, and then we can finally say that we have done 1 of 7 base breakers. There's only 6 more to go, and 4 more entire dungeons to go.